For our next step, we're going to use the plant list and create our symbols. Now, as we move along through the list and as you do projects, of course, as I've mentioned, you will have already made many of these symbols. But each time you have a new plant list and have new plants, it's a good time to add those to your library to pull from later. Now in this project, I've already taken and made the plant list and done my picks on here. I've also made a note in this cell that we're in zone 5 with a pH 7.5 of the soil, and it's a sandy silty loam soil in this area. This list has 145 plants on it, which is quite a bit. And that's a lot of plants to choose from. We probably won't use all those, but what that does do is give our client options. Since there are a lot of different, say, blueberries in this list, elderberry types, service berries, things like that, some of them we'll use, some of them we may not, and also gives the option of replacing some of the plants with what is available in the area or is naturalized to the area. So at the top here we have our aquatic plants, biennials, deciduous shrubs, and trees, and we've already picked those out from the list, and we've reordered that left column. So previously we went through down and picked out all the favored ones we wanted to use, ones that had some functions that we wanted, and then reordered that A column to bring all those to the top, and that's our pick list from there. Now the easiest thing to do is to print out this list and go to the library and see what things are missing and create more plants in our library for that. One of the things you'll notice on line 22 through 28 is we have a lot of 7 here different roses. Those are something that you may or may not want to make another symbol for, especially when the spread is 5 feet. There is a little bit of a height difference, but when they're really the same size, you might just want to call that a rose, or unless you're certainly sold on a certain cultivar, do that. But otherwise you may not want to just keep adding a lot of different plants, but have roses basically that, just like we do with dwarf apple trees, that plant is a placeholder for what dwarf apple or fruit tree you might want to put there when it comes time to order the plants and get those plants in. So here we have our finished plant list ordered by plant type, and then we have by scientific name, so it groups all of those together. All their service berries are together, all the roses are together, all the blueberries, and then we have our pick list on the left. So we're doing really well with that. Now moving on to Illustrator, you can see here how we have in this case I have placed many of the plants already from the list. Here we have here we have our plant list. Come here for me. Right here is the tree symbol library. So these plants were picked from the tree symbol library that was imported from. Well, it is the library now, and it's imported to this project. So you can see we have them by height here, so we can keep track of their height, and then the symbol is actually the correct width, and then we are using the initials of the scientific name for the identifier, the ID within those. So we've pulled those on. Now the thing that you're going to want to do is remember that you have your symbol library and you have the symbols list that is for this actual piece of artwork. So this symbol library, if you double click on these, it adds them to this list. You can also just pull from this and put that on here if you'd like, but you do have a risk of maybe doubling up and have duplicates. So what I recommend is getting your plant list, printing that out, marking the ones that you have, taking those and just double clicking and putting those, and start building your plant symbol list for the project that you're working on, and add to that and start placing the plants that way, going through the list and finding out which ones on here are missing. And then once you've pulled all the ones off of your tree symbol library that you can use on this property. Many of these plants may not be appropriate for the property, so you don't want to pull those on if they're in the wrong zone or wrong soil. So take the ones that you can, note the ones that you need to make a new symbol of, and then go and start creating those symbols, and you'll open up the tree symbol library in Illustrator, the actual artwork page, and start creating those symbols. Close this out, reopen this tree symbol library in this artwork, and then drag the new ones on here. So really those are the two steps: is find out which ones you already have, put those on, mark the ones you don't, go make those new symbols, open this up again, and then create this so that you basically have all your trees and shrubs on here to start. And then you can start placing the trees first and then placing the shrubs.